met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain in the desert.
Welcome back to the show with no name. We're going to continue on this season without naming it. It is now officially the show with no name. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by my regular host, Darcy Lussick. Welcome back, mate.
Good to see you again.
Oh, your energy is just so good. And it's double time because we're about to bring the brothers back together. It's been a long year of you guys not talking. Joey Darcy, welcome. Joey Darcy, I just called you. That's
Thanks for bringing me closer to him, trying to get away from him, but ripper, thank you.
Look, let's break the ice, guys. Darcy said last week he hadn't told you to his face, but he thought you had a great game the week before. Now, the reason is because you guys haven't actually spoken since living together in the UK. Is that right?
I don't even want to dive into that. I'm still traumatized.
I think it's time to dive. Do you want to lay down on this couch and we can talk through it?
Seriously. Yeah, it was a long couple of years, but we're still alive, we think. Maybe not on the inside, but we're here, so we'll take it.
Darcy, is there anything you want to say to your brother?
Look, I'm sorry about some of my behaviour, but we had a good time.
No, we did what we had to do.
We survived.
Yeah.
We could both come back.
Which time? Because you were dead set over the UK, more comebacks than Joe Farm comebacks to us.
I moved in during COVID.
Yeah.
So
we're both battling a bit there.
So my I don't know if I've told you guys before, but my club went bust during COVID. So I'm still waiting on some payment from Toronto. So
I thought you were getting paid every time you got mentioned Toronto on this show.
I'm trying anything I can. But yeah, Joey moved in with me during COVID, so I wasn't playing, and Joey was. You were playing, weren't you?
Yeah.
Did you make the grand final that year?
No, that was Challenge Cup final.
Yeah, so they were going quite good, but Joey would be getting ready to go play a game, and I was getting home. So
cooking brekkie, Darcy's walking in. Morning.
But anyways, we both come back.
Did you dob him into your dad, or did your dad just find out about it?
Every couple of weeks he'd call. I'd get this call. Mate, fuck, boy, you fucking need Joey's trying to fucking play and stuff like that. But anyways. Yeah. We'll leave that in the past now.
Yeah, we'll leave that there.
Can you just look at each other in the eyes and just give us another? Yeah, come on. Eye contact.
We don't do that now, family. just move on.
I'll bring the boxing gloves next time you can sort it out that way. What made you keep going back to the UK? Because it was relentless.
Yeah, it was it was a bit of a funny whirlwind for me. It was more just sort of the opportunity and what presented itself at the time. When I first went, I was only really young and I wasn't really getting a crack in the NRL. And like I said, I was only young, 19 years old, and just a good opportunity. And then came back to the NRL. I was there for 1 year with Para, and I was sort of stuck behind Reed, and opportunity to go to a club like St. Helens over there, was pretty much the best. I won 3 in a row, going for the 4th, and a bit of a long deal for myself, which I couldn't really say no to. So, and then an opportunity came to come back again, and sort of just all happened real fast, really. But I'm glad to be back and happy where I am.
What was it like playing in the Super League in comparison? I mean, you've both sort of dabbled in going overseas and playing over there. How different is the speed? And we see a lot of players coming over, but for an NRL player going over?
Yeah, it is a bit different. I think there's sort of probably the whole quality across the board. There's just not as much depth in the country because of obviously soccer and everything else that happens, union. But the top couple teams in there are just as good, I think. And I think that sort of shows when the World Club Challenges came when we went, and Wigan had a good crack the other week. But just sort of, it just is a different game. I don't know how to explain it really.
I reckon it's just as physical over there.
Yeah.
Like definitely just as physical, but the skill-wise, outside of the top probably 3 or 4 teams, there's a big drop-off.
Yeah.
So you were outside those top 4 teams?
I don't know if I told you, like I said before, my club, we're bust, so we don't. But anyways, we were. So
they got a lot of athletes, I can say that. There's a lot of athletic blokes, but rugby league's just not massive in the country, and that sort of speaks for itself, I guess.
Playing at Old Trafford, what was that like? That field's just renowned for the history.
That was unreal. It was actually funny. Me and a couple of boys went to a soccer game literally a month or two before, and we said, imagine we could play here in a couple of weeks. And funnily enough, we did. And the whole city got behind us because we're sort of a Manchester team. It was 70,000, 60,000 sold out. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was definitely one I'll never forget that one.
Where do you compare that to some of the stadiums over here?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, I don't think you can really.
Yeah.
The English crowd, you can't really compare unless you've played over there. But like 20,000 feels like 50, just because obviously the soccer base over there, it's the same as the rugby league. They just sing and chant the whole game. They stand up, they don't even sit down. I took my dad to a soccer game and he said, we're leaving at half time, my legs are sore. So I thought, oh, yeah, sweet. We spent about £500 on these tickets, but we'll go, don't worry. But yeah, it's just the atmosphere. It's just different cultures. They sing and dance and not dancing, sorry, but they sing and yell and it's just unreal. Yeah.
Heavy abuse over there as well.
Oh yeah, there's no holding back.
You think it's bad here?
That was just from you to your brother.
Yeah,
That was
and my
me,
dad in the sofa.
Nice.
But like a South Roosters, that's got nothing on what happens over there. Like they reckon some places you can't even walk with the other team's jersey on in the soccer in the league. So I just stayed in my house and didn't really move. And saw Darcy once a week. Cooked some scrambled eggs and we're good to go.
I love how you said you basically stayed home the whole time, but you only saw him once a week.
Yeah. We lived 20 minutes apart. We saw each other once a year, I think. Yeah. Once a month. So it was good.
Do you have anything you want to ask your brother? You're just going to sit there and twiddle your thumbs. It's been a year, mate.
Yeah, no. He's it's good to have him back. He's going good, I think. Yeah, he's going good. He started the year well.
Started all right, so it's got to keep going, I guess.
How are you enjoying it? I mean, we're only going into round 3 now, but
Yeah.
two good solid hit-outs for Para. Obviously, the loss last week, which was a tough one. You went into the sheds at halftime up. There were some really promising signs in that game.
Yeah, definitely. I think the side we have there, if we can keep injury-free and suspensions, obviously that hurt the team last year, but I think we'll give it a real good crack. Like you said, Penrith, they are the best team, and we gave it a good nudge there. It was only a couple of minutes there that really crewed us. But yeah, we're really, really excited for the year ahead.
I think Brad Arthur said leading into that game, I think it was on the back end of round 1, he was just like, we were playing too pretty football and trying too hard. Wanted to go back to that gritty style. What did that mean for you in your game?
Yeah, I got a real sort of simple role with the team I have around me. I got some real big boys and some really good outside backs and halves with Mitch and Dylan and Gutho at the back. So literally just make my tackles and pass the ball when they need it. If there's an opportunity there, have a crack. But otherwise, it's real simple for me.
It was like a never give up attitude from Gutho, which we're used to seeing, but he had an amazing individual performance last week.
Yeah, he did. If you see him at training, that's the exact way he plays, the way he trains. He just leads from the front. Everything he does is 100%. And that's what you need as a captain and as a leader. And we all get on the back of that. And I think even though we went down, we were fighting to the last minute, and that's all we can ask. Looking
at his game from week 1, 2, and coming into this game, what have you admired about your brother? And
yeah, I think he just looks comfortable now. Looks comfortable out there, knows his role. Like he said, his role's pretty simple. He just needs to sort of make his tackles, give good service. I think his service has been really good. So yeah, hopefully he keeps it up. But you know, my dad's the harshest critic. You know, he's
what's been the outcome?
I know because, like I said, when I watch his game, I'm actually stressed because if he doesn't play well, my dad's in a bad mood all week, and then he takes it out on us. Like I'll tell you a funny story. Last year, my brother, Freddie, he made the he ended up starting. Like he was sort of in and out the team, and he started starting. Anyways, I was around the house, half time coming along, and then he had a good first half. They came out and he flew out of the line in the second half and knocked himself out. Like he just tried to put a hit on, got his head down, and knocked himself out. And
like you in the gal fight.
Yeah, pretty much. And anyways, my dad started going like berserk, like full on berserk, and I was like, I pretended to go to get a drink, and I just got in my car and left. And then like my phone was going off. We have a family chat. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. My dad still abused my brother. And he goes, Freddie. And then anyway, Freddie calls me and he goes, his dad's still in Australia. I said, what do you mean? He said, he's told he's going to come over and bash me. And he goes, can you speak to him? I said, what do you want me to say to him? I said, no, I'm 5 minutes down the road. You're safe in another country. So, but you know, he wants the best for the boys, and he gets a little bit worked up. So he's got a funny way of showing it. But yeah. Anyways, poor Fred was knocked out, and he's got threatened to get knocked out again. So,
what was it like growing up in your household? I mean, your dad used to play footy as well too. Yeah. He was an avid boxer and boxing coach. Your sister, I reckon, would easily put one on your chin for both you boys as well too. It was quite a competitive family. Yeah.
Well, it was always like we're always like a rugby league family, and we would train with our teams and stuff like that. But then Dad would always drag us out on like a Sunday morning and train again. We'll go to Palm Beach sand dunes.
You've got some PTSD.
Yeah, I've got bad PTSD.
Sometimes we were down in the park and he'd be like yelling at us, and then like I remember I was watching, it was just in the last off season, and Joey and Fred were down the local park, and he's making them run. But he was like, I think Joey wasn't making the time, so he was like yelling and screaming and swearing. And there's like this lady comes over, she's like, "Is everything okay? He like, what are you guys doing?" Like, and she started filming and stuff like that. And
you're like, we're
I was
related.
just like,
About to get a call to dogs.
Yeah, seriously, I was like, child services is going to be here soon. But and he does it with my. I got some nephews as well. My sister has kids, so they're like, how old are they? 7 or something
just
like
turned 8.
They're the twin boys?
Yeah, they're doing MAS and stuff down the park as well. So
are you now on the hill abusing as well too?
Oh no, I'm out of it now. So I've had 34 years of abuse of everything. So now I'm just like,
the boys are safe, by the way, just in case Darcy's watching. They're actually one of our biggest watchers and listeners. So.
Darcy, the last off season, had the picnic rug out with the dog and the Gatorades, just watching. You could tell he was very happy there. So I don't blame him.
But anyways, it's good, you know. Like three of us have all played NRL, so he must be doing. There's a method to his madness, I think.
Were you ever in a moment watching him growing up, getting abused on the hill, just going, "Nah, that's never going to be me"?
I actually remember a couple of times Darcy was playing 20s, and I would have been 6 years younger than Darcy, roughly. And as he's walking into the tunnel at halftime, a little bit like SFS, ANZ, he goes, "Go down and tell Darcy this." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I walk down, and Darcy's like, "Oh, go away." I was like, "Oh, sweet." Dad's like, "Did you tell him?" Yeah. God,
I don't know what's going to be worse, Dad or Darcy.
Oh, God.
No, I was getting abused through him from my dad.
I'm more afraid of Dad after a game than I am Brad.
Yeah. That's a big call because Darcy gave Brad a massive rap last night. Would you call him a lunatic?
Oh, you controlled lunatic.
Yeah, controlled.
My dad not so controlled.
Yeah. Dad's got the other side.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
What was he like to you growing up, aside from obviously playing footy, but was he a tough tasker?
No, we've all been pretty kind of relaxed. It's, like we said, Dad's really done all of the talking and the yelling and everything like that. But like if there's anything little pointers and that would give each other, well, Darcy would give us and that whatnot. But we sort of just let it speak for itself, really. And if there's anything that needed to be said or picked up on, that we would, but we'd just try and let our actions do the talking, really. Your
brother's over in the WAS camp at the moment. Darcy had them number 1. Did you say they were going to be number 1 this year? How does that make you feel that he's got your brother team picked over?
Well, people aren't going to say my sister will be the first to admit it, but I'm the golden child.
Ah, here we go.
So Darcy's probably the least favourite child. We could say, if that makes sense. So yeah, but I'm a bit of a lunatic at home. I'm always annoying everyone, and Darcy and Fred are probably a bit more similar on those terms than me and my sister. We're probably more afraid of my sister than my dad, so that speaks for itself. So you got him and Fred, and then me and Bonnie are sort of a team. So I'm not surprised by that.
Round 22, you're up against him though, both in the number 9 jerseys. A bit of a battle. Will you like go radio silence before that game?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. We've already been talking about trying to book flights and everyone go over and whatnot. But I'm too afraid if I say something it'll backfire, and Fred's not the sharpest tool in the shed, so he might say something and something might backfire against him. But I'm sure there'll be a few little digs. He messaged me the other day, actually. He goes, "Joe, let's do a try score and tally for this year. Loser's got to do something." I said, "Fred, you're as good as Darcy. You've scored 1 try in about 40 games."
Listen to you. You seem to have scored a try and to go so far.
I got to do something. And so I messaged him yesterday. He said, I think it was like breakfast, lunch and dinner on the same day. And I just sent him a message of what I want for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And he's like, "Shit, I'm already down 1-0 here." So, but no, I'm sure there'll be plenty of chat, but be smart with it.
Are you excited to see how well the WAS went last year? But I mean, it's a little bit of a slower start for them this year.
Yeah, but I think obviously, they've lost the first 2, but you look at the football they've been playing and just got to do it for 80 minutes. They're going to be the exact same as they were, and they've added some good additions to their team. I see them top 4, definitely top 8 again easily. What are you making of the comp at the moment? Everyone comes back and says they're the fittest they've ever been. Yeah. It's the best off season they've ever had. Yeah. You hear all of that from every single player and every single team. What are you making of the competition? I know, as I said, we're only round. Yeah, like you said, it is real hard at the start of the year. Like someone like Penrith, they played us last week. They played Melbourne round 1. They play Brisbane next week. You compare it to another team who might not have 3 of harder games like that. So it is hard. You get a bit of a bearing on how you are and how you're travelling. But I don't think you can really even pay too much attention to starting rounds. It's cliche, simple footy wins the early rounds. So I think you probably wait till around 7 or 8 to really get a judge on it. Is there any players that have sort of shocked you in terms of how strong they've come out of the gate at the start of the season? Yeah, I wouldn't say any surprises, but a couple of boys that were always sort of good players that have just stood up again. Like I thought Nathan and Isaiah Yeo the other night were tremendous for them. I thought Junior Paulo for us has been immense. He's trimmed down heaps. I think Pappenhausen's been immense for Storm. Turbo, I think, is probably, been absolutely hammered in the off-season. Poor bloke's been injury-ridden. But when he's injury-free, he's one of the best, if not the best in the game. And I think he's shown that for Manly, and they're off to 2-0 start. So, but like I said, it's still early days, and I think time will tell.
And you've got Manly this weekend, Sunday afternoon game. It'd be amazing if it was at Brookie, but it's obviously out your way at a home game.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to going up against one of your former clubs?
Yeah, definitely. I was actually talking to Lachlan Croker the other week. He said, we'll catch up for dinner soon. And I said, we're playing each other next week. That might be a bit weird. He goes, I didn't even realise.
Any bets there?
Yeah.
Is he going to make you lunch?
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how we go. I think we play him actually in round 8. We play him back there at Manly, so it's not too far away. But yeah, it'd be good to go up against them, and obviously a couple of boys I know there and whatnot. So, and they're travelling well, so it should be a good turnout as well with the fans, I think.
Das, how did you go when his debut for Manly? He came on the field and scored a try. How did you go?
I was hoping you wouldn't bring up.
I'll interrupt there, actually. I come on, fight happens, I've run in, don't even know why I've run in, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, where is he? He's in the bottom of a ruck. And I'm like, sorry, Darcy, by yourself there. And he gets sent to me and I score after the game. We actually were down like 30-0, got back within 4 points, and we end up getting flogged again. And we're walking around the field, going to go find the family. And I go, oh, well, it's good to play with. Scored a try. And he goes, you scored a try? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I scored a try. He goes, I don't know, I was in the sheds. So I went, oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
You know what happened? I get sent. We're down by, I think it was 16, right? And there was about, there would have been less than 20 minutes to go. And so I got sent for 10. And then it was at Wynn Stadium, so I had to walk right to the end, to the sheds. Anyways, I'm walking the sheds. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to put another like 50 points on us here. Walking through it was like the tunnel
cage,
thing,
yeah.
And this guy had like his nose through the cage, and he's like trying to spit on me, and so I sort of like pushed him like that, and then he's gone like, no. And so I'm sitting in the sheds. I'm like, okay, club's probably going to sack me. I'm probably going to get charged with assaulting a fan. Anyways, there's no TVs in
was
there.
Was it your dad?
Yeah. No, he was after the game. And then I hear like this like sort of like cheering and stuff like that, and I thought, oh no, the tries have started. And then it happened again, and then again. I thought, oh no, this is going to be like 50-0 when I go. This is so bad. Came out, we were winning. We're 12 men. We've scored 3 tries in whatever.
Are you sensing where they are?
Yeah. And so I've run out. I thought, oh my god, like we're a chance here. Come back on. I think it was like 8 minutes left. They went bang bang, scored 2 tries on us. The Dragons players are going, mate, your team is so much better with you off the thing. Like they're hammering me. I'm going, oh, and then there was like 3 minutes left, and the referee kept sort of stopping the game. I said, mate, listen, I don't mean to be rude. Can you please let this game fucking end? Anyways, the Dragons players are just going, mate, your team's so much better with 12 players without you and stuff like that. Just fully giving it to me.
Were you just trying to get subbed on?
Yeah, I was just like, and the ref kept stopping. I was just let the game finish, please. And then walked off. My family just looking at me like, oh, seriously, on his debut, but it was a funny story.
Yeah, it's good to remember.
People still bring it up. So, remember when this team were heaps better with only 12 players?
Who's been the biggest sledger for both of you?
Oh,
and what was the best sledge?
You can't really say anything anymore these days. Really, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like you got to be careful with what you say. But no, I haven't really said too much. I've just been the sort of the young guy coming through. I'll hammer everyone at trainer, but when it comes to a game, I'll just leave it to the big boys.
What about someone that sledged you though?
You can't really sledge me though. That's the funny thing. Like if you just hammer me, I'll just let you get on you, mate. One of your best. Actually, I do remember playing a 20s game once. I was just trying to hammer this one bloke. Don't even know why. Poor bloke did nothing wrong. But he was giving me nothing, and it was actually wigging me out. I was like, why is this bloke not reacting? Like, he just looked at me like, what's wrong with this bloke? So I sort of take that approach now. If someone tries to rattle me, I'm just like, yeah, rattle, mate. And then hopefully that try
Maybe
rattles
that's what
it.
Freddie's been doing to you this whole time.
Fred just can't think. Hands down. You rattle Fred, just goes, I think you should try to work out what I've said. So. Sorry, Fred, I love you, mate.
What about you, Dash? I reckon you just spoke about scent.
I've got some vicious things in my time.
What's been the most random sledge? Like something where you were just like...
I can't think of anything, but I've honestly got more like worse sledges off probably fans, to be honest. They've probably been the worst. Some in the UK were just vicious, like... But yeah, I don't know. I'm usually too out of breath to even notice it. So.
Someone's Australia, what was going on?
I'm sorry, mate. I'm just trying to
and also halfway down the tunnel.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some oxygen in.
Well, what'd you make of the round that's just gone? I know we were looking forward to that Broncos South match. It sort of just didn't quite hit the highs that we were looking for.
No, I know we're talking. Obviously, those two teams had the losses in Vegas, so we were trying to see what kind of how they'll respond to the bounce back. I thought South's poor again. Broncos did what they needed to do. They're sort of their big plays sort of Reece Walsh had a good game, but yeah, and then obviously this week they've dropped Ilias. Mm-hmm. Look, he hasn't been playing too well, but I think it feels like they've trained all preseason with him. And then after, I thought they might have given him a few more games, but I don't know, sort of panic stations there, it seems. Now there's talk of, Bennett coming back at the end of the year. So it sort of puts everyone under pressure there. But, there was some exciting games. I thought Manly were good. Penrith game was good. The Roosters, the Wires and Melbourne.
Yeah.
That last try.
That ruined my tips.
Yeah, unbelievable. But I think the game's in a really good spot at the moment. I think the level of footy for the early stages has been probably the best that I can remember for the last couple of years, especially so early on. So I think we're in for a good year.
I know we've already spoken about the Para-Manly game. What else are you looking forward to in the rounds this week? We've got the grand final rematch, which kicks us off on Thursday night. But again, Kevin Walters is just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want the name of grand final mentioned within our team. He actually made them on their first training session back sit down and watch the grand final.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And for a lot of the boys, they said it was their first time watching it, and they were just they were able to sort of look at the little bits where they went wrong, and Kevy forced them onto that so they could completely dissect it and then behind and go again. But
yeah, I think there's a couple of injury clouds over the players in at Brisbane this week, but I think it'll still be a high quality game. I think the Dragons, I'm looking forward to seeing how they sort of respond, because after round one we had such high hope for them, and they sort of just fell straight back into the Dragons that we've sort of come to know over the last couple of years. So they need something. Tigers, it seems to be there's a big difference at the moment, I think, between the top teams and the bottom teams. Like, there's a massive gap there. And I think maybe that's, like, they're talking about introducing another team. Do we have the quality of players for another team? Because,
do you feel like it's already stretched?
I think it's really stretched already, yeah. I think, those bottom 3 or 4 teams are, where are you going to find some more halves? I think there's a big half problem in the comp at the moment. I think quality halves are just so hard to find, and the quality ones at the moment, they're 33, 34, Ben Hunt, Daly, Nathan Cleary's probably the youngest good one. Moses. So, you need to find some more halves. But, it would be interesting.
And what about for you? Any other bigger games that you're sort of looking forward to in clashes this weekend?
I think the Dogs-Titans game standing a bit out for me. Obviously, Titans didn't have the round one they were looking for, come off a bye. I think Foz is back, his name. Yeah. So, and then Dogs, they obviously stuck in it with that against us, and similar against Cronulla, and just sort of fell off. So I think they're definitely an improved side from where they were last year. So I think that matchup's going to be a really good one.
What about Foz? You've both played with him and you've both been around him. I think he's sitting on 282 games. Last year it was like fine wine. He just seemed to be getting better with age. It was insane to see some of his performances. What are probably some of your favourite memories of Foz?
The thing is, he's just such a good bloke to have around training and everything like that. He's a real man's man. Enjoys having a beer and then ripping in. But he rips in the games. Remember those early years where he would take the ball right into the line and get smashed and get up and, training. He just brings that real calm presence. Obviously, injuries have sort of played a big part in his thing. Like, he should be well over 300 games now. But I hope he gets there. I hope he gets there. But, he just brings that experience. I think he had a really good combination with Fafita last year. Like Fafita's game went to a whole nother level, I thought, last year compared to the year before with Foz there. So, I wish him well this year. I wish him well.
Did you get a chance to play with Foz?
No, I never played with Foz, yeah. I actually spoke to him because we played him in the trial up there. And I just said, how you travelling, how you going? He said, nah, Des has been really good for the boys and bit of a fresh new look for him, but also made him, a bit tougher and whatnot. So I think they're in for a big year. Obviously not the start they wanted, but I think Foz being back there will be good for him.
Does it get in your head in terms of making you want to have a bigger game when you are returning to the club? Like I guess our fans and journos and everything are about it go, oh, okay, it's Des and Foreign back at Bulldogs territory and it's back at Belmore as well.
Yeah.
Is it as big of a hype to you as the player as what they try and make it externally?
Yeah, I reckon it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends who it is and where and how long they were there and whatnot. I think it changes.
For you, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You were there for 2 weeks.
I know Mitch, every time he plays the Tigers, he really gets up for that game, for example. Like, you grew up playing for him and he was there for a long time. So I know someone like him loves that, but played one game for Manly, so not too much for me.
What about you? Yeah.
Massive? I remember when I went to Para, every time like we played Manly, I would love it. You know what I mean? Feel like you got maybe something to prove. I didn't leave Manly the first time on bad terms or anything like that, but I still love playing them. And then, the people who do leave, say, on bad terms, I'm sure Des wants to get one over Manly. Yeah. So everyone's different, but, if you can find something to motivate you a little bit more, that's always helpful.
All right, what about another big game player, and we see him back on the field after a fair stint with suspension? Hargraves up for game 300, and it's a big local derby with Roosters and South.
Yeah, Jared's like still going hard at 300 games. Everyone who sort of you were at the Roosters with him for a while. They said his leadership in the training, like he sets the standards in training and everything like that on the field. Everyone gets behind him, so. He's walked that fine line, but that's what you want from your sort of the alpha of your team. You know what I mean? Every team sort of looks towards the alpha, and that's been Jared for a very long time there. So, once again, I wish him well this week. Yeah,
I think he's up for, obviously, I think the last probably 3 or 4 years. I think the first half of the year, everyone rides him off. He's done. He's too old, and then he just comes and does what he does. Like Darcy said, he walks that fine line, but when he's on one, the whole team's behind him, and I think he'll be up obviously for another big year, and he wants to, a point to prove and finish well in the NRL.
Who's a scarier bloke to run up against? Is it Hargraves, or would you say Big Nelson?
Hargraves.
Or would you put someone else in front?
Joey.
Well, luckily I don't have to do any of those rides. But if they're running at me, just neither of them, please. Like Junior Reg, help me, please.
I remember Josh Mansour told a story where Nelson Asafa-Solomona lined him up, and he goes, I just saw him running at me and his eyes bulge out of my head. He goes, my soul just left my body. And I was just like, nah, I don't want to take this hit.
There's nothing worse than a big boy. You just see him just look at you and you're just going, oh, this is not going to be good. And you're looking like, no one's around me. Okay, sweet. Just close your eyes.
What's been one of your most favourite games or most memorable games out on the pitch?
Obviously, your debut is always a good one. Obviously, terrible result, bit of a funny storyline. But for me, it's probably my debut and probably my first game for Para as well. First game I started, I should say. Like the whole family was there. It was a packed out crowd against the Tigers, I think it was. We played well, we won well. So it's all just like that new sort of beginning type of feel. But every game I tried to take as much, not for granted, I should say. But those two probably stuck out for me.
Das, you're just staring into the abyss at your brother. You look like you're in love there.
I remember, I don't know, obviously your debut.
What was your debut?
It was in 2011 versus, it was at Brookie Oval as well, which was good. It was like a rainy Saturday night versus North Queensland. But probably the most craziest one was obviously that Manly Melbourne game. In 2011, not because of the fight, but because of that was first, second. Going, I think it was 2 weeks before the finals, and I don't know if you were there. I've never seen Brookvale Oval like that ever. Like it was just I've never seen it so, and everyone hated Melbourne obviously because of the last sort of couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the win that night as well, and yeah, that was my last game of the year.
Is that due to suspension again?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah. But anyways, we move on.
Well, before we pass you off and we jump into boxing chat, what can we expect from Para this year?
I think I'd like to think we're going to definitely be in the 8 and push for that top 4. Like I said, the roster we have and the talent we have in the team, if we keep everyone injury free and try to keep suspensions low, I think we'll give it a good red hot crack. So we'll see how we go.
All right. Well, thanks for jumping on the couch and making sure that your brother offered absolutely nothing.
Thanks for having us. Anytime.
And then just a little shake of the hands, and this love is going to blossom again.
I got to drive with him home, so
Stay friends for now. All right. Well, thank you very much, Joey Lussick. Can't even get his name out today. We're about to palm you off, but if you want to see any more of the footy chat, don't forget to check out our other podcast, The Scrum, with Big Les, Ace the Mace, and Darcy Lussick. But again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Cheers.
Welcome back to the show with no name for the second half of our podcast. We have swapped Joey Lussick out and brought back Ace the Mace and, of course, Darcy Lussick back for our second program. We're tapping into the boxing yarn this time around. Ace the Mace likes to think he'd be a professional boxer, but did you even have a pro fight?
I had one fight, that was it, but no good. lots of sparring and but just the one fight, no good.
Yeah, well, at least you got a bloke with a better record beside you.
Just.
50-50.
He got a far bigger paycheck.
Just slightly.
Yes, I did.
That's why your missus got some Balenciaga shoes last week for her birthday. First and foremost, last week when we were doing the podcast, the fights were on.
Yeah.
Sammy Goodman obviously getting up on the night.
That was, I reckon that's the best performance I've ever seen of Sammy. I love his crowd. Sammy Goodman. Like, it's like you've got a little group of people from England, like you just talking that last podcast, and they just support Sammy. I love it. It's unreal.
That you can hear him from everywhere, and even when he's not fighting, like even during the other fights, they start his chant.
They get a bit excited.
The Sandy Coast crew. One of the fights that I wanted to talk about, particularly when we're chatting sport and footy, was old Scott.
Yeah.
Junior. What'd you make of it?
Look, I think No Limit are quite good at building ex-footballers up to try and be boxers.
You're saying that because you're out of his reach.
His head's that big I could touch it. No,
we're nearly done.
It's that Manly St George game all over again.
No, look, one thing I will say, he threw straight punches, which I do like. Did he look well balanced? Probably not. Did he look like a boxer? Not really. Was it a good effort for someone as a footballer? Yeah, it was. And obviously Joe Leilua does hit hard, but he throws those haymakers. They didn't land. Prediction, he'll probably fight another 3 or 4 blokes that he can beat. And he'll fight.
His aim is for him to go pro. This is Curtis Scott wants to go pro.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that when you fight a real boxer.
Yeah, right.
But you can improve. Definitely can improve.
Well, I mean, I guess...
Or you can get a paycheck and not go back.
You don't need to with what I got.
Outstanding.
Wishing he fought Gal earlier. What'd you make of it?
I thought he went all right.
Yeah.
I don't know how serious Leilua took the.
Is that due to his physique?
Yeah, the previous fights that he came in, he looked a lot better. Maybe he thought he was.
He can definitely bang.
Look, I think he's quite skilled. Like, I think if he was 100% sort of dedicated to it, I thought his previous fights were pretty good. I thought he went the full couple of rounds with Hyington.
Oh,
yeah. So
you can't call that skillful fighting. That fight. No offense. I love
not skillful, but like he went 4 rounds and.
But that was a slog fest.
Yeah.
Well, just talking about paychecks, what would it take you to fight Curtis? George,
there's got to be an amount.
Look at George. Yeah. Tell George. Tell George now.
George knows my price. He can call me.
So you're saying there is a price?
Huh?
You're saying there's a price.
There's a price for everything. Yeah.
So next question: can you beat him?
Easy.
Really?
Yeah, I'll be able to beat him. Yeah, for sure.
Why do you think you'd beat Scott?
How did we get onto this?
I promised we an angle for this.
Tick. So you'd you'd go back out and fight if the price was
Look,
right
if the
for
price
Curtis
was
Scott?
right, yeah, I'd go out. And if I had a full prep, yeah.
How many
100% I'd
weeks
come
prep
back.
would you need?
Oh, at the moment, probably 12 weeks.
12 weeks,
Yeah.
doable.
And you look fitter than Joey Lalua.
Yeah, maybe. I don't at the moment. But anyways, we'll move on now.
Just-
Digressing. But George, it's happening.
And he says he can beat him. So, I mean, he's put it out there. Curtis Scott, if you want to take a Darcy Lussick on, the call out has been made if the price is right.
Did you guys talk about this before we came on or something?
No.
Maybe.
Look at you just giving it straight up. Just
No,
play
gave
it
you
with a
up.
straight back. Yeah. 31st of March, Tim Zoo, we were looking, what were they calling it? Zoo SA. He's been over in the camp for a good 12 weeks, I think, in America, fighting and sparring a lot with Mendoza, his previous opponent. His opponent just...
Face it.
So is it better?
Yeah.
He's coming up against a new fighter. So it was Keith Thurman. He ruptured his bicep in sparring this week, which is pretty...
Did Bo Champion do that when he had his boxing fight?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Do you remember that? It just went straight, rolled straight up his arm.
Straight up. Yeah, he fought Burgess.
That's right. It was one of the
that's right,
first
yeah.
punches
Burgess.
too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Good old champion.
Have you ever done your bicep?
No.
It's pretty. It looks...
Yeah, it
pretty
doesn't look
brute.
fun.
I remember Chock, Anthony Watmo, did it in one of the State of Origins, and he had it and it was torn so badly it was just hanging on.
I think Robbie
And
Farah
then
did it
during the
once. I've seen
game-
it down by the beach. It was horrific.
Yeah, it's gross. Well,
Yeah.
literally Chock ran out and it was basically handling what he could with it, and he could barely bend his arm. And then during the game, it just ruptured, and he goes, "It's good now. I can move my arm."
He
Because I
actually
can't
ended up
control
playing the
it."
rest of the year, I think.
Yeah,
So that's why I never made a tackle. It was
and then Parramatta signed him and paid the bill for it.
Yeah.
They're good at buying new players like you.
Yeah.
Busted from Manly.
Yeah, and then they send us back.
Yeah. Well, anyway, back to Zoo. He's taking on a new opponent. So we go from the Soul Taker. He's now up against the Towering Inferno, and it's Sebastian Fundora. There is a 22 centimetre height difference between these
he's
two guys.
almost 2 meters tall. So I think he's like 197.
Yeah.
I think his reach is over 2 meters.
Yeah, it's
he's
203.
southpaw. He's awkward as fuck, like to watch. It's really funny because they've got the same form or similar form line going in. Before he had his loss to Mendoza, there was the raps bigger than Christmas on him. They didn't think he would get beat. He beat Sergio Garcia. He beat Lubin. He beat Ocampo. And then there was a shock KO in, I think, round 7 to Mendoza, where I think he was winning most rounds pre it.
Yeah. They basically said he couldn't get lost, but all of us know in the room one fight can change it all.
Yeah.
To give reference for it, so this is a super welterweight fight, so around 69 kilos, 154 pounds. At his height, he is the same height as heavyweight fighter Usyk, and then he's 1 centimetre shorter than Anthony Joshua. Like, is that not wild?
He's a praying mantis. Like, if you
That's
see him,
basically,
he is like a human praying mantis.
Like the reach on that, and when you also look at the difference in fighters, so Keith Thurman is orthodox fighter, he's strong, powerful, around the same height, and then you've
Moves,
got
bounces, gets low, jumps, he's a real different. And I know I watched a lot of content lately and how Tim's prepping for it, and he training for those style of fight. He's fighting the polar opposite of
Hugely.
Thurman.
And that's the thing. So, like, I think there's like a 26 centimeter difference between the fighter that he was meant to be fighting. So to go into it 2 weeks out, to have your whole fight prep worked out, I think even Georgie Rose, and we keep giving a name drop here, but he was like, this is the kind of fighter that you spend 12 months preparing for, and at the very least 12 weeks coming in. We all know promoters love to talk it up and sort of, we want to make Timmy the underdog coming into this fight. But
I'd be interested to know how much training how close Fundora was to looking to an
he was
actual
meant
fight.
to fight on that same card.
Okay,
So
it was.
his last fight was obviously the knocked out by Mendoza. He was meant to fight on the same card, which was why it was an easy transfer. Mendoza was actually in fight camp with Tim, helping him train, and he was almost called up for them to fight again. Mendoza now goes to fight Fundora's opponent.
Okay.
And then on top of that, we now have 2 belts on the up for grabs as well too. Now
Are
with
they
Tim's
still
fight.
going? Are they going to still take the belt off Tim if he loses the fight?
Yeah, so that one's up, and that was actually not going to get put up if he was fighting Thurman. I think it was a last minute call. So the 2 fights, he defends his WBO crown and he challenges the WBC strap. So the winner of this potentially walks away with 2, and then the Mendoza fight and the opponent and he's fighting, the winner of that will then apparently fight these guys. The winner of this one.
Interesting. I want to just touch on one other fighter.
Go.
Paulo Acuso fights this week.
Yes.
I've got big raps on Paulo Acuso.
You love talking about Paulo Acuso.
I do like. He's just. He looks like he has, like with a lot of Aussie fighters, they're like that workman-like. He's got flair.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that. He looks like he's got
exciting to watch.
He does. He's got X factor. Like we watched Hardman fight the other night. Good Aussie fighter, doesn't have X factor. Where I think Paulo does. Be interesting to see where it goes from here. And I think he's now ranked in the top 15. I think he hopefully should win this next fight. And I think America could be calling. Could be one to watch.
I feel like on Hardman's point, I feel bad because I feel like he turned up and he was just having a bad night. I think we all know, like, it's on a footy field, if you're having a bad night, you know, you've got other
You
players.
hide.
Yeah. For Darcy, he had his brother, so at least he could hide behind him. But there's nowhere to hide in the boxing ring. And when you have a bad night and then you get trapped in your head and you sort of start going, oh God, everything's going wrong. How do I fix it? And you start getting a little bit more stressed and more worked up, and it's harder to relax and get your cleaner
There's not
shots
many
in.
people to help you get out of it, is there?
No. And
No, definitely.
I do feel bad for him. Darcy, have you ever had a night like that on the field or in the ring? Boxing ring. Don't look at me like that.
This wasn't a setup.
No,
Yeah, this is not-
no. On the field, I've had every second game was like that. In the ring.
No,
you know,
I
when
understand why you think it was a setup.
Yeah. In the ring when I fought Gal, I was just way outclassed. You know, I did my best. There's nothing else I could have done. I was just beaten by a better person. So,
but
yeah.
Curtis Scott's a different story.
Yeah, I'd be able to beat him for sure. With a 12-week camp, easy. So, but yeah, Gal's too good. But sometimes you go out there, things just aren't happening for you. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like you said, boxing, there's no hiding. You have an off night, you get knocked out. In footy, you have an off night, you either get hooked or you can hide.
Yeah.
And how hard would it be as an athlete to get the call 2 weeks out? You're fighting a completely opposite fighter than what you were prepping for.
Yeah, it would be hard. But Sue's just got that mentality. He was just like that next man up mentality, wasn't he? Like he just said, yep, straight away, no worries. Like there's a lot of sort of, athletes out there that would be like, oh, no, I want to protect my belt. I'd rather sort of have another 12 weeks preparing for someone because, my belt's on the line, but he's just gone, fuck it, I'll just...
I think he's in a bit of I'll give him credit for that, but I think he's in a bit of a different position because he didn't exactly win the belt in the way that most people would. So I think he's in a position where he kind of just has to take whatever's there. It's not easy. I kind of feel sorry for him at the moment because obviously Charlo was who he wanted to fight. And I think for him to get his real big payday, you need a name. And right now in that weight division, a lot of those names have just dropped off, gone to different weights. So it's even if he fights here, who does he fight next? They're saying Crawford?
Well, I think there was talk that he'll fight the opponent of... The winner will fight the winner of the Mendoza fight now, which is the one that... It sounds really confusing. I feel like I'm weaving a web here. But where Sebastian Fundora was meant to be fighting.
Yeah.
The winner of that will then take on.
So once again, look,
It could be up against Mendoza
yeah,
again.
exactly, could be up against Mendoza. Is that a big payday fight for him? No, I don't think it is.
Do you think it's like that he just fought him and then was in the same camp as him, or the
It is a
sparring?
bit strange.
I think that's kind of.
I thought Mendoza, I don't know if it's a massive credit to Tim or if Mendoza did not look the same fighter to when he fought Fundora. He did not look the same fighter. Because I thought they would be a hell of a lot closer. I don't know. I don't know if I underestimated Tim or if he just wasn't the same fighter. This
size difference and how awkward a fighter he is. As I said, there's a 22 centimeters in height. Reach-wise, Tim's 179 centimeters reach. Fundora is 203. Like it's massive, and that changes your complete fight plan too. Because he was fighting the guy, the same bloke, same reach. It's a little bit more of an equal playing field to stay at distance and to still get in and make those punches count. And Fundora, although he's the praying mantis that you were sort of referring to before, he's got power.
He definitely does have power. It's awkward. He's not like he's an awkward fighter. Well, look at the size of him and the shape of him. He's going to be awkward. There's no markets up for the actual fight yet. I'm really intrigued to see what the bookies put up and where the money goes. Obviously, you'd think Zoo's going to be favourite, but how short, I don't know. And whether he could be a risk if he is short, potentially.
Is this risky taking this fight?
Fucking knows. Like it's you've
It's his DNA though, isn't it?
It is, but like you prepare, you prepare. You'd be dreaming of who you're going to fight. You'd be like, I think, depending on you'd be thinking about how you're going to fight this fight. You go in the game plan, and you've gone from fighting this guy to the praying mantis. It's going to be very different.
Darcy, who you got?
Yeah, I think Zoo wins, but the last sort of since he knew he was fighting, he would have gone to bed every night thinking about him. Every waking moment, he would have been thinking about Thurman.
Yeah.
I know that from experience.
And now he's going to be looking at some guy's nipple trying to punch him.
Yeah, like it's not a straight punch, is it? It's like a,
What's he gonna do?
I don't know, but good luck to him. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well.
All right. Well, we're going to be chatting plenty more sports throughout the year on the Show with No Names podcast. Don't forget, if you want to check out all the facts and figures on the footy form, you can check out the boys on the scrum throughout the podcast as well. Like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you.